Good morning, Olivia. It's so nice to have you here. I was very, very excited to interview you today. We've only met once, and I don't know about you, but I fell in love with you. We clicked immediately. Yes, we've got something in common, but you're the kind of person I do see myself with having a long-term friendship with. You're very energetic. You're quite straightforward. You're quite tall as well. And I think you've got so much passion and you love what you do. So you're really the kind of person, like I said, I do see myself with building a long-term relationship, not just because of what we have in common. So welcome at Kuter.
For having me, and thanks for thinking of me. I must say, I love the way you ambushed me and you didn't really tell me why you wanted to talk to me.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that. Sorry.
No, I was saying I don't really want to tell too much, otherwise people overthink it. They say, no, you get?
No, it's all good. I'm just really, really happy to be here. And I've watched your other interviews and they've both been, well, I've only seen two, but they've both been amazing. So well done.
Thank you so much. So I just want to tell you, I've got a reason for wearing this camo today. There's a reason behind it. Because when I look at you, I see a soldier. I salute you. This is not my everyday dressing. I specifically put it on for this interview. Because when I look at you, I really see somebody who's so strong, who's a soldier of her own life, who really takes control of her team and the army in her life. So, well done.
Thank you. No, you make me cry because I'm wearing yellow and I never wear yellow because of what you do. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for wearing yellow.
No, thank you for having me. And I actually don't look bad in yellow, I must tell you.
You look beautiful. You look actually very beautiful.
Thank you. Not my color.
So all my interview starts with an icebreaker. So my icebreaker question to you is, do you wear high heels?
I do.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have high heel shoes in my cupboard. The one pair I think makes me 6'7".
Goodness.
When I have them on. Yes, and when I was in court, I made sure that every single day I wore high heel shoes. So yes, I do wear high heel shoes.
No, because I was just really thinking about that, because when we met, I literally felt like a midget, like I just felt smaller than I know, but then I is. You weet wat ek bedoel? And
yeah.
But for me, you've got that presence. So I'm not saying it like you're tall jy weet wat ek probeer sê. It's like you walk in a room and you're there, So the whole high heels thing.
Right.
Yes, you are.
No, I own my high heel shoes. No, I love, I used to actually be very ashamed of my height. And walking into a room used to be very daunting for me because I always felt like everybody was looking at me. And just over the last couple of years, I've really started to own it. And yeah, I'm tall, but like you say, I have a presence and people know I'm there. And with what I'm doing now, those high heel shoes count. So they must know I'm coming.
I love that. You know what? And that's such a nice message to other women as well, Own it. I feel I really want to share this with you. As a child, I used to stutter. And I used to be very embarrassed about it. And today, I do stutter because I struggle with anxiety. But I have these interviews. I am open there. I tell my story. And so what if I stutter a little bit? So I also used to be very, very embarrassed when I'm in front of people. So we all sit with something that bothers us. And, and the idea or the objective at Kuter classes as well is when women are listening to us, or men, is to remind them we're only human. We all struggle with something, and it's okay. It's okay, rather embrace it.
Leilani, I mean, no, very, very, very few people know this about me, but I'm actually deaf as well, and I wear hearing aids, and I have the most amazing bright pink hearing aids because I just absolutely own it, and it is what it is, and we all have our stuff. We all have our crosses to bear, and we must own them, because I think anybody that that is ashamed of any imperfection we shouldn't be, we should actually, our perfection is in our imperfection.
Oh, I love that.
Because it makes us so unique.
I love that. And I think I'm going to make that our headline of this video. I love that. You know what? And I think at our age as well now, you know, we need to tell young girls, rather accept yourself and talk about these things. And, you know, like I said, I stutter. I admit it. But you'll never stop me here talking. I'm going to keep on talking. Dit is maar nou net so, jy weet?
You know, I've never heard you stutter though. I mean, in your interviews and this, I don't even pick it up. That's actually amazing. That's amazing.
Weet jy wat, ek dink oor die jare het ek dit al so goed reg gekry to hide it.
Yeah.
And it's all about breathing actually. But yeah, you know, this interview is not about our faults today or our greatness about us. Let's rather say that. So I also know you're a tennis player. Now my husband used to play tennis when he was in school, okay, and he said to me he was quite good, but I don't think he was good as you, okay. So I want to know, since what age are you playing, or did you play golf? Oh, sorry about that. Since what age were you playing tennis, and where does the love comes from it?
Okay, so it's actually quite an interesting story. So I started playing when I was 5. My birthday present was a tennis racket and a tennis coach. And I played, wow. I never really had a passion for it, but I was very good at it. And when I was 8 years old, because I did ballet as well, I did ballet and I did tap dancing. My coach told me that I needed to choose between tennis and ballet because I was balleting around on the tennis court. You know, that's a very, very tough. It's a very tough decision to make when you're just 8 years old. You know,
yes,
I had to make a choice. I love ballet. Yeah. Anyhow, so I carried on playing, and geez, I was number 1 in the country. I did very well. I was ranked in the top 100 in the world as a junior. I was number 7 in America. I was number 1 at the university I played at in America. And then I eventually stopped when I was 24 years old. And then and the reason I stopped was because, interestingly enough, my rapist, Bob Hewitt, joined the tennis club that I was a member of. And I saw him arrive there, and I was actually playing a final of a match, and it was the weirdest thing. I saw him arrive, and that was like the end of it. I walked off the court, put my tennis racket down, and left, and never went back. And then when we were in court in 2015, and he was testifying, he felt it necessary to imply that I was never good enough for his squad, and I was never good enough for, you know, that I think basically I got too old. I became too old for him, and I was no longer attractive to him as a 15-year-old. But he basically implied that I actually really wasn't good enough to stay with him anymore. And I kind of took on the attitude of, well, F you know? And it was one of the toughest things that I ever did, was walking back onto the tennis court. Literally, a friend of mine took me to go and buy tennis clothes, then took me to the tennis court and literally held my hand and walked me onto the tennis court. And I started playing again. And it was very triggering. It was very upsetting. It wasn't fun for me. Tennis as a junior was never fun for me. But then I started doing really well. And within the first year of starting to play tournaments again, I was invited to Interpro. I did exceptionally well at Interpro, and before I even knew what had hit me, I was in the top 10 in the country in my age group, which, considering I've had 11 back surgeries, I'm full of screws, you know, I have like all these things, I did really well, and I now enjoy it again. Sadly, I haven't played for a year because I've developed really bad arthritis. But I'm getting there, and I'm going to get back on that court when it's a little bit warmer and start playing again. Yeah, I love it. It's my space.
Now, I'm so glad to hear that. Sorry, I just had to close all those other tabs because I just keep on hearing it, and it's distracting me. Yeah, so, okay, great. So you are really very, very, very good. You know, I mean, Ek moet vir jou eerlikwaar sê, I'm one of those people. I've tried tennis. I used to play action cricket, maar ek wil net 'n tennisbal moer. You weet, and because especially if you've played action cricket for so long. So I don't know, I'm not a good tennis player at all, and I don't understand the point system, okay? So I think I must come and visit you one day, so you can please patiently take me through it, okay? And explain it to me, please. Will you do that?
I will try that for you. But listen, mooring the ball is all part of it. Listen, I've even written the names of people who have hurt me in my life. I've written their names on the ball, and I've played with that ball, and I have moored that.
I love that. I really love that.
I have done the chess.
You know what? That you've mentioned his name, okay? And that is also why we are here today. So I did my a bit of preparation for our chat, and I must tell you from my side, okay? I got angry. I got livid. I started to shake a little bit. When I read words like 12 years old, child rapist, when I read things about his wife is asking court, must he go to jail because he's sick or she's got cancer, you know? I got angry. Let me tell you, literally angry. And those are not even my triggers. And that's only a little bit of it. So I can't even imagine how you must feel, okay? It happened to you at the age of 12. Okay, then you saw him again, like you said just now, you know, when you were 26, I think you said, 24?
24, yeah.
And all those emotions, and then you started with this journey, and you know, your whole life, you know, so I've really been thinking about you quite a lot, and I just thought to myself, you've been through a lot actually, because you know, at the age of 12, you're so young, and so I don't really want to know exactly what happened, because I don't care about that. I don't want the juicy stuff. All I want to know today, how do you feel about it today? When you hear his name, with everything going on around, I saw your post yesterday about parole, okay? Tell us, where are you in your life right now when it comes to Bob, I nearly said fucking, Hewitt, okay? I want to know.
You know, it's actually a really difficult question to answer. Well, no, it's actually not. It's just complicated to answer. So I have my moments where I'm very angry at him, and I'm very angry at the people that let me down, that being my family. And I'm very angry at the tennis fraternity for also letting me and letting many, many other women down. You know, we were young girls. Those same people have come to me now as an older woman and said to me, but we knew what he was doing to you. Why didn't you tell us? You know, and my response is, but if you knew what he was doing to us, why didn't you do something? So that doesn't make me feel better. It actually just makes me really angry. I feel really let down by the system. And it's actually something that I'm still tackling. I mean, he got parole on the 24th of March 2020, 2 days before we went into lockdown. I faced him in the parole hearing. I sat there opposite him. I took the most terrible abuse from him. And I can't say too much, but I'm actually still fighting with him. He continues to abuse me. He continues to emotionally abuse me. He's trying to silence me. So, you know, I feel really let down by the system because he should not be allowed to do this. So I also feel very empowered, and I'm not scared of him anymore. You know, I used to be terrified of him. When I first spoke out, I mean, I moved house in 24 hours one day so that nobody knew where I lived, because I got a very threatening phone call from his wife, who told me that they're watching me, they know where I live, they know where my son lives. You know, so it was a really, really horrible time. And I'm big. I can look after myself. Don't threaten my son. This is not about my son. So, you know, I'm not scared of him. So I'm very empowered. In fact, you know what? I'm very grateful to him. And one of the lessons that he taught me in life, and you know, I'll never forget, he used to scream at me on the tennis court because I was quite lazy. and I didn't move very well. And I think it was because I was so tall. He always used to say to me that it takes a long time for the message to get from your feet to your brain to say run and then back down to your feet, so that so I was a little bit lazy. But he used to say to me, you get every ball back, no matter what the cost. You try. Even if you think you're not going to get there, you chase that ball down and you try and get it back. And I used to chase balls, and I still do. I mean, I've ended up in hospital because I've chased balls as an older person that I shouldn't chase and put my back out,
Oh.
So I'm very grateful for him, to him for that lesson that he taught me, because by getting every ball back, I'm sitting where I'm sitting today, strong, empowered, happy, and honestly, I feel amazing.
Wonderful.
So thanks to him for that. Yeah.
You know what? And I love that now, because, and not everybody will understand this. The fact that you can say you are thankful for what you've learned from him, because he did this to you, But you've been with this man as, he's as a young girl, and he's your coach for many years. So there were good days as well. There were bad days. Then there were these lessons, and I admire you for taking out the lessons, and that's wonderful. It also tells me,
Leilani, as a victim, and I say this for all victims, you can learn from what's happened or you can't. You can remain a victim, or you don't have to remain a victim, and you can do something with what you've learned. And I was a victim for a long time, for a very, very long time. And it's been extremely hard work to overcome that victim mentality. But, once I started taking the lessons that I've learned from the last 42 years, it's actually amazing how suddenly your life starts to change and good things start to happen. Absolutely. So it's a lot about your mindset as well.
You're so 100% right. Absolutely. And that's actually one of my other questions, because me and you did speak about it before. What advice can you give to a public person who's never been through this? Because you remember we spoke about the questions that these people are asking, okay? And we understand that I maybe always mean it, but people like me and you are talking to especially talking to the public out there now, because not all victims are like me and you, who are ready to talk to just anybody, okay? So we are ambassadors out there. We are activists out there. We're trying to make really a huge difference. And I think people like us must try, I don't know about you, but if I can just help one public person who's never been through it, to say, listen, stop asking these stupid questions. We know you maybe mean well, but think about what you're asking me, okay? So what are the questions that really, really get to you? And you really want the public to start focusing on, think about what they're asking.
Okay, so the question that irritates me the most is we knew what he was doing, why didn't you tell us? Okay, that's probably the question that really gets me worked up the most. The other question is, why did you wait so long? That is, to be honest, none of anybody's business. I don't have to justify why it took me so long to speak out. That generally comes with people who are quite ready to victim blame and accuse us of going after money, accuse us of having vendettas, accuse us of being crazy, all that kind of thing.
Looking for attention.
Why any victim waits for so long? First of all, it's none of anybody's business, but it's because of really stupid questions like that. And it's a question that really it really irritates me. And the answer is, we didn't wait that long. Any other victim that's waited many years to speak out, and we're dealing with a lot of historical abuse cases, have waited a long time. But it's about a process, and it's a personal process. It's not so much a question as a statement, is why don't you just get over it? Put it behind you, forget about it. I will never get over it. I will never forget about it. I will be triggered every time I smell a sweaty man. it is the way it is. And unless you've been there, it is not any statement for anybody to make. Sorry, I get quite passionate about whether I should get over it or not.
You don't ever have to say sorry.
I will not get over it. Yeah. You know, this has defined me as a human being. My abuse has defined me as a human being. And like I said earlier, I could do something good with it or do something bad with it. I chose to do something good with it.
Absolutely. You know what? Please don't ever say sorry. And I can really relate with you, especially because that when I read about it, you also said something in one article about the smell, because that's one of my trigger points. I can still today remember Frankie. He called himself Frankie. I didn't know him. I can still remember his smell. There's a certain smell that just, it does something to me, and I maybe react totally different. And people will say, but what's going on with you now? You know, then you're not in a position where I want to explain, listen, this and this and this, you know, because I don't want to explain myself. So I can relate with you about the smell thing. And it's something that will never go away. But the way we handle it, I'm handling it very different from when I used to handle it, you know. And this is also my message to other survivors, if you're listening. Triggers will be part of us for the rest of our lives, but it's our choice how we're going to handle those triggers. What are we going to do with it? Do you agree with me?
I do agree with you. You know, on some level, look, it takes a lot of work. You know,
a lot of work.
For me to get up out of bed every morning, get dressed, show up, do my work, it's work. It's exhausting, actually, because there's some days where I just don't want to get up. You know, and I have good days, I have bad days. I have days where triggers, I know that I've been triggered, but I can handle it. But I have some triggers, sometimes I don't even know what the trigger is. And I can flip out. I threw my tennis racket into a park the other day, or a year ago. You know, something went off in my head on the tennis court. I threw my tennis racket at the fence. It gained momentum and took off over the fence. But, you know, and I get judged for that as behaving badly. But something triggered me. And, I mean, I can be walking in a shop. I can see a man with gray hair, you know, the way he looks now. I get triggered. I can't go to a gym. I get triggered. But I stay away from situations like that. But there are some times where we literally clutch out, as my boyfriend says. We clutch out and we absolutely can't deal with it. But that's not for anybody to judge. It's more for somebody to try and understand why that stuff is happening to us.
Yes, yes, and I agree with you now. Exactly what you just said, to rather understand it. Because what I meant earlier when I said, it's your choice of how you're handling it. What I meant is exactly what you just said now. If you like the gym and malls, you'd rather try to stay away with it, or try to stay away from it, okay? And that's what I mean by the way you're going to, like, I know till today, if a certain movie have somebody in that's going to get strangled, I try not to watch it. I'd rather stay away from it because it's going to trigger me. Yeah. And yes, there's days that, you know, you wake up and there's a dream that triggered you. I mean, I can't help to have a dream or a smell or something you see, you know. So our triggers are very unpredictable sometimes. We don't know when we're going to get them. But if you're in a situation where you can maybe rather stay away from those triggers, then do that for your own sanity. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Leilani, just back to triggers. I mean, it was not just the abuse that I received from Bob Hewitt, but, you know, I mean, I was quite badly emotionally abused by my family, my mom and dad. And I have good memories as a child, but I didn't know that what was happening to me by them was abusive. So, you know, now and again, we'll turn on YouTube and Cat Stevens will come onto YouTube, you know, the music, and it instantly triggers me. It triggers me to a happy memory, but it can also make me feel extremely sad because my parents are out there somewhere and want nothing to do with me. So, you know, I have those triggers, and then I have people asking me, but why don't you just contact them and you know, make things right? First of all, I don't have to make anything right, and second of all, I've tried. I have tried. So, you know, that upsets me, and I actually get physically, you can physically see it angers me and it upsets me. And I think when we were at your house that one day, we had that group of ladies there, somebody said something to me about my mom and dad, and how it's hurt me. And when I say that, I mean, I get triggered, but it doesn't hurt me as much as it did, say, a year ago, because I'm starting to heal from it and I'm starting to accept it. And I was very irritated that this person thought that it was okay to tell me how I should be.
Yeah. I remember that, and that is specifically why I'm not talking about it today. That's not on my questions. I've decided to not even go there.
Yeah.
But on that note, I want to just briefly talk about identikits, okay, and how people, because if there's one other thing I really, really wish I can get right in this world, okay, is for people to understand a rapist doesn't necessarily look like a rapist, okay? Because when I Googled Bob Hewitt, okay, he was quite an attractive guy when he was younger. I mean, he was famous, he was good, he's well educated. This guy looks like he's got it all going for him. What a wonderful package. But he's a rapist. Okay, so stop thinking it can't happen to you. Stop thinking the guy in the corner with his little scruffy hair and maybe his pants is looking a bit dirty, he's the rapist. Maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe he worked his bloody ass off the whole day, okay? He's trying to provide for his family, but you're putting a label on him, telling him he's a rapist, purely because of the way he looks. Let me tell you, and this is something I get worked up about, okay? It's because I'm from a very disadvantaged areas. People used to tell me, yeah, but maybe it only happens in your areas. I get cross about that because a rapist doesn't necessarily look like a rapist. And this is also where the whole thing with your parents made me a bit sad, no? Because this was a friend. It was somebody that used to visit you at home. Verstaan jy wat ek sê? So that makes me angry that people out there, parents, and will never think it was the uncle or this wonderful man because he's so good for us, or this wonderful woman. People must start looking at people like this and flip and maak jou oë oop, is wat ek probeer sê.
Leilani, on that note, people have this idea that it's in the poorer areas, or in the squatter camps, and I mean, look, we know what goes on there. We know what goes on in the poorer areas. It's a fact. I live in an estate. I live in a golf estate. There's respectable people that live here, if you want to call it. There's a lot of money. There's affluence. In the house that we lived in before this house we live in now, 2 doors down from us, lived a rapist. Lived an old man who molested not just his grandchildren, but a friend of mine's daughter as well, who was their next door neighbor. Yeah. And we're actually in court with him at the moment. But they are everywhere. They are everywhere.
Us. Exactly. They are everywhere. I also stayed in a very Leilani estate long ago in 2010 for about 4 years, okay? And trust me, the things I saw there, and I don't have a problem with financially successful people. In fact, I think it's wonderful because you obviously worked very hard. Good for you. But the normal person out there must stop thinking it can't happen to them. They must stop thinking it only happens exactly like you said, and only in certain areas. Because boy, oh boy, you are just stupid when you think that. And I'm sorry being.
But Leilani, it's much easier to say it won't happen to me because I'm vigilant. It won't happen to me because of X. The reason people would rather stick their head in the sand and say it's not happening is because then they don't have to deal with it. This is a very, very uncomfortable conversation for anybody to have. Yeah. And and I want to touch on what happened with my family because it's very, very important.
Okay.
We've got the uncles, we've got the friends, we've got all those people. It's common knowledge that my mom and dad testified against me and they testified for Bob Hewitt. It's common knowledge that my dad said he's an icon. He would never do something like that. It's common knowledge that my dad said, oh, but she must just get over it. It's common knowledge that my mom asked me if I was pregnant when I was 12 years old because she knew I was sleeping with Bob Hewitt. It's common knowledge that she knew what he was doing. She, by her own admission, and a message that needs to get out so strongly is we have absolutely no reason to lie about something that's been done to us where we have been violated. When an adult survivor speaks out, it's because they've had to process it and they now finally feel like they can. When a child comes to you and says to you, something's happened to me, like I did when I was 12 years old and I wasn't believed, there is no reason anybody should not believe that child. There is absolutely no reason, and that breaks my heart. I hear it. I actually used to think I was the only one whose parents did something like that to me. It's not like that. It's so much easier to not believe the child and carry on letting Uncle Bob come sit in the lounge and force little 5-year-old Samantha to sit on his lap or give him that big sloppy kiss when he arrives or leaves. And it's a reality. So people don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations. When Uncle Bob walks in the front door and wants to kiss the little girl and she doesn't want to kiss him, or the little boy says, believe that child and respect that child and tell Uncle Bob not to touch your child.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't like it, he mustn't come back. It's that simple.
It's as easy as that. So listen, we need to wrap up. I'm love. Ek geniet dit so met jou te chat.
But I don't want to. I'm having so much fun here.
We can talk the whole day, me and you. So I just quickly also wanted to tell us about your wonderful nonprofit company. What are you guys doing? How can we get involved? How can the public get involved? Because we at Yellow for Survivors, we want to get involved with you guys. We want to see how we can help you guys. So just tell us about the work that you guys are doing, please.
Okay. So Women and Men Against Child Abuse are an organization that have been around and doing anti-abuse for 27 years now. They walked my journey with me and got me through the court process. They've been amazing to me. So we identified that within the sporting world, there's a monumental amount of abuse that's going on that's just been swept under the carpet and not being dealt with. So after a lot of soul searching and actually, interestingly enough, my partner, Debbie, is in the system at the moment. She's waiting to have her abuser prosecuted. We decided to set up Athletes Against Child Abuse. So Athletes Against Child Abuse are specifically dealing with abuse in sport. We launched on the 22nd of April. About 2 weeks ago, we have 26 cases that we're dealing with across about 12 sports, different sporting.
In such a short time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're almost getting a case in a day, actually, at this point. So we are hugely busy. We are the first and only organization to be running in such a way that, so we offer, first of all, we are victims and we are here for victims. We do education. We do a lot of advocacy work, and the advocacy work is completely going or walking the journey with a victim from laying a charge right through the system to a conviction or whatever we need to do in order to get the justice that a victim deserves. Okay. So we spend a lot of time in court. I mean, we've got a murder case in Cape Town that we're dealing with. We've got a historical abuser case in Durban. We've got a case by an Olympic cyclist in Port Elizabeth that we're dealing with. So we even nationally, our biggest challenge right now is funding. Yes. So that we can actually get to court to go and be with the victims and their families while they are sitting in court. That is our biggest challenge at the moment. We are running completely on our own funds. We've both left the corporate environment so that we can do this full time. So yeah, at the moment, any funding that we can get in will be a massive, massive, massive help. You know, somebody sponsored me to go down to Cape Town to be with the little boy who was murdered by his basketball coach, to be with their family. And I cannot tell you the impact it had, just having somebody there with them, who, I don't know, it was just the support that they had, that they need. You know, to watch a mom collapse in a heap because the case was postponed again, and to be able to pick her up and hold her and support her and be there for her has helped her tremendously. And you know, we're supposed to be in court tomorrow actually, but it's been postponed. So you know, we need to be able to be there for our victims, and obviously in order to do that we need funding.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you so much for all that information. And like I said to you before as well, at Yellow for Survivors, you know, I do all those crazy walks and things like that. So hopefully we'll also get sponsors involved. And because what we do, we raise funds for organizations like you. Because I never want to do the work that you do and Annery do and Matla Abana and all these amazing organizations. That's not for me. You know, at Yellow for Survivors, we focus on getting funds for people like you guys, and then we also focus on self-defense. So those are the two big things we focus on, you know. And then also with our Kuter, so, you know, we're trying to inspire people, to tell them you're not alone. Look at us, you know, there's life after rape. There's actually a beautiful life waiting for you. Take that first step, you know, get in contact with people like myself and Olivia and Annery and all the people out there. We want to help. We want to tell you, you will get through this, and it will take time. And I don't know about you, but I always tell people, there's not an expiry date on healing. The healing never stops. You know, for me, it took 27 years to really talk about it, to really put it behind me, you know. So I can never tell you it's going to happen then in 2 years, this will happen and this will happen. Everybody's got their own journey. Everybody.
Correct. You know, something that I want to say to everybody is dealing with being raped or abused is extremely difficult. You know, to sugarcoat it would just be to be lying. It is an extremely difficult process. I walked through mine on my own. I mean, we were all finding our feet, and however, there are now people coming together who are experts in what we do, because we have what's called a lived experience. We know how it works. We know, and Leilani, we are sitting here living proof that you can actually go from being a victim to a survivor to being a thriver. We are thriving at the moment, and it's people like us who want to make the world a better place. And we are there. I mean, I am on my phone 24/7. We are there for people, and it's a safe space. This is a completely safe space. You know, we will take care of you because we were not taken care of. And it's our job to take care of those people who feel vulnerable.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I'm going to end up with that. So we are really there for you guys. You know, we're not just saying it. And reach out to Olivia and, you know, and to myself as well. We really want to help you guys, because I know I've said it earlier, because there is a beautiful life waiting for you, and you so deserve it. You so deserve it.
Thank you. Thanks. And so do you. And, you know, I just want to end with something. I watched your interview with Annery du Plessis yesterday, and I'm going to get emotional. But, you know, if it was that lady being one of my support systems, I wouldn't be here either today. She was amazing. And I want to thank her from the bottom of my heart.
I'm so proud of you. And you know what? It's people like Annery, and, you know, I'm glad that we've also met, because you're helping me again. You know, just talking to you now. Like I said, the healing never stops. Just remember now, yes, I am happy and I'm out there and I'm doing my thing, but I also have my off days. Now, also get days where I know 16th September is coming, but I'm so blessed. Because when I look now at 16th September now, so many people are telling me lately, oh, it's my son's birthday, it's my birthday. So I'm starting to look at that date in a total different way for the first time. I only used to look at it at, that's the day. But now
My
I'm like,
lovely
okay.
Leilani, that was the day your life started.
Yes. That is the day my life purpose was set out for me, And I'm very privileged. I'm really a very privileged person to know my meaning in life. And I will, for as long as I'm healthy and able, I will not stop doing this work I'm doing because it makes me feel good. I was supposed to be dead. I'm here. I'm going to tell my story. Okay. And you're going to tell your story. And I'm so proud of you, my soldier. Okay. You are a full
you know what?
army.
My little ray of sunshine. You are just my little ray of sunshine.
That is a full army. You come with force. The force is very strong in you. Don't ever lose that in you. Don't ever lose that. I've got so much respect for you about that. Okay. Don't lose it. And I'm going to end up with that now. It was so lucky to chat to you. And look after yourself. And thank you for wearing yellow. You look lovely in it. And
thank you. And love to everybody. See. Thank you.
Have a blessed day. Speak to you soon.
You too. Lots of love.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.